Hello, Karen here, Soul Symbols, Astrology and Tarot. Today I'm going to give you a tarot reading. We're going to have a look at Oracle. We'll start with the Oracle, the alchemical deck, because the messages I've had this week are very about alchemizing, about, holding polarities of things and bringing them in. As I've looked at the astrology, there's a lot going on. So one of the messages I had from my muse, my guide, whatever you want to call it, was being shown two large oranges being thrown and someone catching them and then putting them in one hand and being asked, how many can you peel? Clearly you can't peel more than one at a time. But there was a sense with it of a frustration of wanting to do the two things at one time. So that's one message for someone. If any of these messages don't resonate, just leave them. The other, I was shown a field, and someone was, manually putting flowers in them, seeds in them, and then covering them and watering them, but really over anxious about their growth, checking all the time, maybe over watering, over nurturing. So there was a sense of this. So I did have a very direct message about that, what I saw. And it was do one thing at a time, trust the growth. Okay, there's a sense of trust in whatever you're doing, whether it's in relationship or a project or work, trust the growth. You don't make it happen, was what I was told. Okay, it's you lay this, you're given the seeds, you lay the seeds. Um, but it's the minerals in the earth, it's the rains that makes it grow. So that there's that sense of the choice of what grows and what dies. Yeah, there's a bit of our nurture in there, but actually it's a lot external to us that produces the growth. And it's the same for the soul. So it's what the message was, what are your hands making? What are your bodies creating? Is it in harmony with the earth? Is it aligned to love? Is it authentic? Is it truthful? Are you becoming diminished by the work of your hands, or is your garden growing lush, full of food for the birds, for you, and plenty to share? Kind of an abundance it was. So what is the work of your hands and your bodies? And are you doing too much? So as I got the messages, I pulled the cards. So the first card was the new pearl. I mean, this is about grit. So the person who got the orange, if you're feeling that frustration of having too many things to do, okay, this pearl is made by grit. It's made by an irritant. So whatever you're irritated about, you're being told or you're being asked to look at that irritant and to kind of welcome that irritant, not deny it, not try and overcome it, but just accept it as it is. There's an irritant. So it could be an irritant in your relationship, there could be a bit of conflict, a bit of rubbing each other up the wrong way, but don't kind of get in your mind about that. Don't be overseeing it and trying to change it. Just accept that irritant. And that can be in, your work, your everyday life, or even in your spiritual growth. Just don't be worried about it, because it's the irritation that causes this beautiful pearl. Yeah. So that is the sense of that. And then I got vinegar. Now, the, the vinegar, it's one of those materials in alchemy that we all know when we've eaten vinegar, don't we? Like, what? So, if it's too much, it's overwhelming. Okay, it spoils. If you put, I mean, here in England, we love our chips with salt and vinegar. But I never let the people who are serving it. Not that I have fish and chips much, but I never let the people who are serving it put my vinegar on, because if it gets drowned, the whole experience of that naughty fried chip is like overwhelmed by the vinegar. But the vinegar there, the use of vinegar is to distill, it's to preserve, and it's to ferment. So again, there's a sense with this pearl and this patience of allowing the irritant, like don't be putting too much water on those seeds. Don't be impatient with the growth. Don't allow um, your nurture, your care, your overseeing, all the good intentions to kind of swamp and try and control. So there's a sense of kind of understanding your process, looking at your shadow. I mean, there may be frustration, there may be fear of failure. Have a look, sit with those feelings if they're there, okay? Whether it's in relationship or any area of life, but particularly your spiritual growth. We can get spurts of growth. We can, go miles and then we plateau, or we even kind of appear to take steps back. But don't worry, sit with it, love it, accept it, whatever it is. There's a real sense of that. Okay. So patience with the pearl and the irritant is growing something beautiful. The vinegar, you know, that puts beautiful flavour but can be overwhelming. But it's a sense of you're distilling things. So take time to distill what's irritating, what you find you difficult, what your feelings are, your emotions. Watch them. Okay, have a look at them. We can often want control of things because we can't let things be organic. Because sometimes it's because there's outside pressures on us. If it's in work, we're pressured by outside things and we get that irritant. But don't worry. Allow the vinegar, allow the irritation to create that pearl of wisdom in you, that pearl of beauty in you, the pearl of great price. Let it, let it occur. Be patient. Wait. And the vinegar. I think you're back to front. Yeah. I've got it wrong on my camera, but it is vinegar. So the vinegar, let things distill, let them ferment. Okay, so you may have to stand back and watch a bit of chaos and not get in between it. There's that saying, never put your hand between two fighting dogs, you get bitten. So there's almost like just accept everything as it is. Obviously, don't let people step over your boundaries or insult you, but yeah, just that sense of things are growing, even if you can't see it, things are fermenting, things are doing something, even though you can't see it. So it's a real message of there's a lot going on unseen. Um, there's a lot in the world going on unseen. We see the chaos, but there's a huge amount that's going on spiritually in the cosmos, you know. So that, oh, excuse me, but there's that sense of trusting the process, trusting that the growth is occurring, not being afraid. Okay. So they were the cards that I pulled for the message. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to have a look at what your opportunities are and what your challenges are in these situations. So just stop and think for a minute how this resonates. If nothing at all resonates for you, then it's the reading's not for you. It is a general reading, so okay, let's have a look. So we're going to have like look at your opportunity and your challenge. Yeah, so that is really fascinating. Okay, so your opportunity is the joyful muse. Interesting, because I started off saying my muse. So I'm hoping you can see it without. So this is that sense of bringing joy into the irritation. If you've got that bird's eye view, I can see now like an eagle soaring. When the eagle's kind of down on the ground getting its prey, it's vulnerable. Other prey can come and get it. But when it's above, when it's taken up its prey and it's soaring, or when it's hunting, it has this huge view. So it is a sense of shifting your perspective, and seeing something as an irritant, a problem, something that's overwhelming, too much to do, mind going mad. There's that sense of have the higher perspective, look at it as not an irritant and a problem, but as an opportunity. You're being offered opportunity, and the opportunity is every time we have a challenge or something that's, very difficult. If we take that step back, if we ask spirit, if we go into meditation journey and we engage with our guides, our spirits, our muses, if we engage with that, we can often get that wisdom that would give us a higher perspective. And when you can see from that bird's eye view, you can hold the sense of, the final thing, what you want it to be in the future and what it actually is. You can get this irritant, you can see the pearl, okay, and you can wait between the gap joyfully because you know things are growing, because you know you're not alone, because you have joy that the divine, that spirit, that God, however your deities, um, or your higher self, your inner strength is moving and doing things, even though it can't be seen. It's also a time when spirit can really highlight the shadow in you. That's kind of it is, I think, when there's challenge and there's probably it's an invitation to drop down, to speak to your soul, to look at your shadow, to not to bury your shadow or deny the shadow. I mean, if you feel enraged at someone or angry at someone, just look at it. Just look at it, okay? Just hold it, have a conversation with it. The Jungian psychologists would tell you to engage in active imagination. So start talking to your shadow, ask it what it wants. Why is it enraged? Why is it's so irritated? Why is there a need to control the situation? Um, you know, and if you sit with that, you see such a beautiful thing coming out. And I'm getting in my mind now, empaths, people who are empathic, people who are feeling, people who kind of carry other people's issues. Empaths can sometimes, and take it from me, I have it myself, you can deny the irritation you feel for the person you're trying to help. That is the time to hone your gift, because it is a gift. It can be a curse and it's a gift, and there's a big shadow to being empathic. There's a lot to hold when you have that empathic connection with collective. That I'm not just talking about being nice to someone you love. I'm talking about, if you're really moving in serving others. Yeah, you you can spend this time to look at, am I trying to control? Have I got a need to be needed? Am I serving to kind of validate myself? There's all these lovely little shadow aspects to it. And if you do the work, you reach your soul and you can hold the polarities of that light and darkness. That's all of us, every one of us, however nice we are, however lovely we are, we've got these dark little things. But yeah, hold with joy, okay? Hold with joy the irritations of that pearl, okay? And then for your challenge, you have skywriting, again, the fates, which is very connected to the muses. This is skywriting, is where it's written in the stars. That saying, it's written in the stars, it's written in the cosmos. This is why it's good to know your astrology, or at least know your rising sign, so that you can find out, what's going on up there. That because we are influenced, if we are unconscious and disconnected from what is going on in the cosmos, we can be influenced deeply by the archetypes, the kind of, because they're alive, psychic. living beings, these archetypes, and they can infiltrate us and take us over. Hence why we need to do lifelong shadow work, particularly if we're working in the spiritual field. So this skywriting is the fates, and there's a sense of that fate and free will that, we're talking soul contracts, we're talking agreements we made before we came here. There are things playing out that we're not fully conscious of. Some of us are, some of us aren't, but we have things that constrain us, okay? And they are to mold us, to grow our souls, to grow our characters, to help us know ourselves, to have joy in this world, enjoy the joy. So it's a fate. We have free will, but there are things written there that you cannot escape. Karmic, cause and effect. What reaping what you sow, good or bad, whatever. We cannot change that. Okay, but as we move and we see ourselves, we can respond with that joy to our irritants, to our challenges, to the people that drive us insane. Okay, we can ferment and distill with that, and we can be not overwhelmed by it. We can be a beautiful flavor that brings about a process within our soul that is brilliant. Okay, so that's your challenge. What are your soul contracts? If you don't know about it, go find out. What soul contract? What contracts have ended that you're clinging on to that is causing you to feel overwhelmed, leave acid in your mouth, a bad taste on your tongue. So the fates, that's your challenge. The other thing that's coming to mind about the vinegar is I see vinegar and the tongue that tastes and the taste buds of the tongue a bit like intuition. I know that sounds mad, but that was my reflection on it, because the tongue and the taste buds, they know when something is off. If your senses, your taste sense is working, your tongue tastes when something's off and it stops something going in your body. Okay, so we need to use our intuition. Do our intuition is just like our tongue, but it's spiritual. It's kind of tasting. It's tasting the energy. It's tasting uh, the environment, and it's saying, mm-mm. And sometimes we just swallow it. I mean, if we were starving, we would eat moldy food, you know. So there's a sense, like spiritually, physically, we need to make sure we're nurturing ourselves so that we're not swallowing, ignoring our intuition and swallowing, codependency, or swallowing people walking over boundaries. Yeah, so it's self-care. So our challenge, our opportunity is to be joyful, to get that higher perspective, that eagle eye perspective on the situation. Go to your guides, go to spirit, go get a reading, go ask someone for help with that. And know that there are certain things that are going on that are just totally out of your control, just like the growth. We are not responsible for the growth. We're not responsible in a sense for the fate. It's how we respond. Okay, so we need to respond with patience. Okay. And I do have on the bottom energy of these cards, repairing the veil, forgiveness. So I'm thinking the bottom energy to this read, have we, self-forgiveness, forgiving other people, not judging other people when they're acidic and they're overwhelming us, and then we're so irritated with them that and then we have to do the work of forgiveness. And then when we've forgiven them, we very often have to forgive ourselves for being so judgmental or whatever else it was we did. Yeah. So I'm not saying anger's wrong. Anger's a beautiful thing. It shows us, it's a compass. It's a real compass, anger. It's what we do with it. No emotion is an issue. It's what we do with it. So I'm going to have a look with my muse cards. Muse is the theme of the day, people. I'm going to have a look at what Spirit wants to say more on this. Oh, that's too many. Oh, okay. So they're brilliant cards. We have the Wheel, we have the Eight of Voices, which is the Eight of Swords, and we have the Muse of Inspiration, which is the Queen of Wands. Okay. So these are basically confirming what the whole message is. So this Wheel of Fortune is very much the fate. So the Wheel of Fortune, it denotes Jupiter, but we all see Jupiter as this big friendly giant, but actually Jupiter can be about maintaining, natural laws, universal laws. But the Wheel of Fortune is also about fortune, good fortune, bad fortune. It's about the ups and downs, the light, the dark, the brightness and the shadow. And do remember when lights shine very brightly, shadows get darker. And they get darker so that you can see them and engage with them and, you know, move through whatever you need to move through. Okay. Um, so that Wheel of Fortune is the skywriting. It's saying, it is the patience, it is the timing. There's a type of time called Kairos. I couldn't think Kairos. So you've got the Chronos, the time that just keeps turning and turning and turning, a bit like the wheel. It just turns, don't, don't. It's not all about us, that says. But there's also Kairos, which is the opportune time. So the opportune time is like when we've waited patiently and the pearl appears, that wisdom appears. Just, I've got this thing about never thinking anything is wasted. Nothing, excuse me, nothing but nothing is wasted. Okay. So we got the Eight of Voices, the Eight of Swords. We all know the Eight of Swords in the Rider Waite deck. It's a woman blinded, not blinded, blindfolded, tied up and not moving. And it's kind of like self sabotage. No other nice way of putting it is self-sabotage. So that is in that message I got from Spirit that said, don't, be standing over the seeds and over watering and, eating too much vinegar. It's overwhelming. It makes us stand still. So have a look at any patterns of self-sabotaging. As I said, within a situation, whatever goes on, it's very easy. I do it myself to just point and go, it's them, it's not me. I didn't. I mean, we all do it. It's human. It's so human. It's just such a human reaction. Unless you're angelic, I'm clearly not angelic. So, yeah. But that Eight of Swords is those moments where we kind of tie ourselves in knots. We don't want to look at our shadow. We don't want to know why there's that blooming irritating person. We don't want to know why it triggers us, why we're irritated. We want to blame and move on. But everything, as I said before, is an opportunity to grow, to drop into your soul, to go to spirit. It's often at the worst times when we're tied up, knotted up. I mean, look at that. That we surrender to spirit, we surrender to hearing, we become desperate to hear sometimes. So before that happens, just go inside, have a look at what your soul's saying. Because out of that, there is this muse of inspiration. And I often think inspiration, just like the fates, the Moiras, the fates, that muse of inspiration is comes from above. If you it comes, it's otherworldly. When you get messages, when artists are inspired to paint, when they're in the zone and they're, trance mediums, people who challenge, people who channel, people who divine, people. When you're in that zone, you're in that zone. That inspiration uses your brain, uses your voice, but it's inspirational. So if we move through those things, if we go down deep inside, if we are willing to look at shadow, to hold polarities, to stand above and see that we are not responsible for the growth, we are responsible to do our work with our hands, to scatter our seeds that, by the way, we get given from inspiration, scatter them. Yeah. Do your watering, your little bit of nurturing. Don't keep, digging around in the soil to see if the green shoots come up, because you'll kill it. You'll just kill it. You'll kill it with kindness. You'll overwhelm it with the vinegar. Yeah. So it's that thing. So yeah, and this forgiveness, this repairing the veil. If you're not prepared to forgive someone, then it's not your time at the moment to forgive, but hold that. Okay, you really need to hold that. So there you have that inspiration. That inspiration will start coming. And it often comes when you're encountering shadow, when you're doing that inner work, when you're doing active imagination, you're having conversations with parts of yourself you've been scared of for years. When you face those fears, um, the first part of the message, I'm just going to have a look because it's coming back, is take courage, be healed. You only have one pair of hands. Okay. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull you one more card from this beautiful. This is a shaman's dream oracle, and it is beautiful. To close the message off. Okay. It's so lovely to be back here. Thank you for all my subscribers who waited around with no videos. You're wonderful. I really, really appreciate it. And all the new subscribers. Okay. You wouldn't believe that, would you? Covenant, sacred contract. So we talked about the contracts, soul contracts. There's a big message here about your soul contract. Go to spirit, listen to spirit, do your journey and do your meditation. Go and sit in a field or by the sea and contemplate your navel. Okay. The messages come from everywhere. You can hear and see things in nature that give you messages. Spirit's never silent. Source divine is never silent. It's us who are not seeing, hearing. We've not got our taste buds going, our intuition open. And it is all these things that can be really difficult are just opportunities to grow, you know? We're seeds, we've been planted here. Grow. Don't force it. Just trust it. You will grow. Okay. That's your message. I hope it was helpful. My website is now open if you want to book for an oracle read, a tarot read, an astrology read. The calendar is now open. It's very easy book. The prices are reasonable. And if you're new here, just found me, please subscribe. I've got little subscribers, and I really want to get this channel and messages out here. Yeah. Okay. Lots of love to you all. See you on the next one. Bye bye.